Hey guys, it's your boy Sushi here with another NTE video. So in this video, we will be going over Sakiri, who is the only must-pull character right now in my opinion. We will first talk about her skills and investment priority, then her best arcs, then her best console build, then her awakenings, and then finally some of her best team comps with some detailed rotations for max utility and damage. Now let's get straight into the video. First, let's talk about Sakiri's skills. Besides being the strongest support character in the game, Sakiri is very rude in the main story and I find her hilarious. Her kit revolves around grouping and CC, which is crowd control, which means stopping the enemy from moving, and applying a massive attack buff for your team. She is a must pull for casuals and meta slaves in my opinion because she adds the most quality of life to your overall PvE experience and the end game fights. All of Sakiri's attacks use Kiromaru, her anomaly familiar. Her basic attack swings Kiromaru around for 5 hits of incantation damage. You can also hold down basic for Kiromaru to eat weakened enemies. She also has a standard plunge attack. Her skill is a massive AoE grouping skill that also CCs the enemies. Note that this doesn't work on bosses. She has 2 variations for her skill, so you can either tap the skill button or you can hold it. You always want to hold it because holding it gives you 23 psycho energy, whereas tapping it only gives you 16. And you need 100 psycho energy total to perform an Esper cycle swap. When you use her ult, Kiromaru spits out a gravity attack that presses the enemies down into the ground and applying a very strong CC debuff called Suppressed. Once again, this CC does not work on bosses. She also applies a team-wide attack buff, except for her, based on her base attack. There has been a lot of confusion about what exactly counts as Sakiri's base attack, so I decided to test this myself. This first clip shows Sakiri with a full build at 2422 attack. Now let's take a look at Daffodil's ult damage. As you can see, the last hit of Daffodil's ult did 26,951 damage. Now let's look at what happens if I switch all of Sakiri's plus 20 modules to plus 0 modules in order to keep the set bonus effect. She has 1,825 attack now. Now let's take a look at Daffodil's ult damage with this lower attack Sakiri. As you can see, Daffodil's final hit on her ult still does exactly 26,951 damage. This means that her base attack only depends on her character and arc levels. We will talk more about this later in the console section of this video when we are talking about her builds. Sakiri's support skill swaps in with 1 instance of incantation damage. Sakiri has a Scorch enhancement, which increases dot damage, which is damage over time, taken by the target by 25% for each type of dot effect while in Scorch state, up to 100%. Sakiri's second passive reduces enemies' defense by 10% for 20 seconds after inflicting airborne or suppressed. This is just for mobs you hit with Sakiri's skill or ult. You can ignore her life skill. Now for Sakiri's skill level up priority. You want to first focus on her 2 passives, then focus on her ult, and then her skill, and then her basic, and then her support skill. She really only uses her skill and ult. You might be able to throw in a few basic attacks every now and then to fill up her Esper cycle meter. Since we are still in the early game, you can keep these skills at level 6 depending on how many mats you have, but I would highly recommend that you focus these materials on your main DPS and sub DPS characters first. Now let's talk about Sakiri's best arcs. Sakiri's best in slot arc is definitely Good Boys Grand Adventure, which drops from the weekly Big Doggo boss Morphix. You can unlock this boss through the main story quest, and you can get more dupes through using keys or farming the boss, although it'll be a rare drop. So there is no excuse for not getting this arc. This arc gives her a lot of attack percent for the main stat, which adds to her attack buff. It also gives charge efficiency to replenish her ult faster and even more attack buffs for your team. If you aren't up to the Big Doggo boss yet, then you can just put any attack percent main stat arc on her for now to increase her base attack for her ult attack buff. Now let's talk about Sakiri's best console build. So for Sakiri, you want to run the Speedy Hedgehog set because it gives ult charge efficiency plus 12% and also increases all allies' attack by 15% for 20 seconds after the wearer casts ultimate, and the effect does not stack. For Sakiri's cartridge, the main stat should be incantation damage bonus. As for the substat priority, you can actually prioritize crit rate here if you want her own personal damage to increase, since we tested it earlier in the video that her ult attack buff is not affected by these modules. So if you want to build her with crit rate, you can follow the usual for DPS characters. You want to start off with crit rate, then crit damage, then attack percent, then universal damage, then flat attack. However, I would recommend that you save those module pieces for your DPS characters for now and just throw whatever you have on her with attack percent and flat attack substats. There are no stat goals for Sakiri, but you can go for the usual at least 2300 to 2400 attack. You only need to prioritize her character and arc levels. Next, we will discuss Sakiri's awakenings. Her first awakening extends the immovable effect inflicted by Feast of Gluttony to 6 seconds, which is her ult. Her second one deals extra damage with Feast of Gluttony to airborne enemies, scaling with the target's mass and capped at 600% of attack. Her third awakening increases Devour Hole and Feast of Gluttony damage by 6% for each enemy defeated by the team over the next 15 seconds up to 60%, resets when out of combat. Her fourth awakening increases team attack excluding Sakiri by 30% of Sakiri's base attack for 20 seconds after casting Feast of Gluttony. Fully restores Feast of Gluttony's ultimate energy and resets its cooldown immediately when Devour Hole makes the target airborne. And the last one allows Kirumaru to devour and digest up to 3 enemies at a time in eating mode, with the digestion time for each enemy calculated independently. So a quick note, guys, it looks like Sakiri's A4 is bugged or there's a typo or something because this is already built into her base kit. So hopefully the devs will address that soon. Sakiri is all about her grouping and CC and attack buff. With that in mind, since her A4 is bugged, I recommend going for her A5 first so that she can immediately replenish her ult after using her skill, so you can easily move on to the next rotation without needing to build her ult with basic attacks. This is also helpful in the open world and dungeons where your ult energy isn't always full like in the endgame mode. Then you can go for her A4, which, like I said, hopefully the devs will fix soon, and then the rest of the awakenings. So in order, A5 first, then A4, then 1, 2, 3, and 6. Now let's talk about Sakiri's best team comps and rotations. You can slot Sakiri into any team even if you don't have an Esper Cycle reaction with her incantation element, because every single team benefits from her grouping, her CC, and her attack buffs. So you should focus on the core of your team, meaning your main DPS first, and just put Sakiri in slot 3 or 4. Here are 2 examples. So for this rotation, you start off with Sakiri and then you hold her skill and then you ult. This is for grouping, CC, and her massive attack buff. Then you quick swap to Daffodil, use her ult for the phantom stacks and then her skill. Then you quick swap to MC and use her ult. Quick swap back to Daffodil to use 1 phantom stack. quick swap back to MC and use her skill to fill her Esper Cycle meter, then quick swap back to Daffodil to use her second Phantom stack, then quick swap back to MC, and then immediately swap to Nonali to apply Blossom. Then you use Nonali's skill for the 30% crit damage buff, and then ult, and then spam basics.
I got it. Nowhere to hide. No mercy.
Let's finish this.
I'll handle this.
I will speed up. You've done it, alright. Everyone, follow my command.
The biggest and fastest damage rotation starts off with Sakiri holding her skill and then ulting for grouping CC and her attack buff. Then you quick swap to MC and use her ult if you have it, then her skill for the instant Remora reaction. Then you Esper Cycle swap over to Hathor, hold her skill, and you want to get hit for her feather stacks, and you also recover Esper Cycle meter while you're holding down this skill. Then you can use her ult and spam her skill to use all of her feather stacks for big damage. If you did this correctly, Hathor's Esper Cycle meter should be nearly or completely filled up so that you can Esper Cycle swap back to MC to use MC's skill and swap back to Hathor for the second wave of burst damage.
Tag, you're it. Watch out, fool. Let me decide it. Fight hero.
No loose ends. I'll handle this. Clear on time. Now's the time. As expected.
Okay, then
Spin and clear.
You play her the same way on every single team. You start with her, you hold her skill, and then you ult, and then you swap off to set up your DPS characters. The only real team comp I recommend for Sakiri is every team comp. Even if you're running only A ranks like Skia and Mint as your DPS characters, just put Sakiri in their teams and they will do a lot more damage. If you guys found the video helpful or enjoyed it, please like, comment, and subscribe. I'll be making in-depth character guides just like this one for every single character in the game. Just a quick reminder to take your time and enjoy the game. Please don't overplay this game and burn out in like 3 or 4 days and then you just quit, okay? I'm really hoping that NTE becomes one of the top gacha games of all time. I stream every single night, guys, so if I don't see you on stream, then I will see you in the next video. Bye!